The King Who Listened to a Child. Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom filled with golden fields and towering castles, there ruled a mighty king named Roland. He was wise and strong, but he had one flaw. He believed that wisdom only came from adults. He never listened to children, thinking they were too young to understand the world. King Roland had a council of advisors who always told him what he wanted to hear. "You are the wisest, your majesty," they would say. "No one in the land is smarter than you." One summer, a terrible drought struck the kingdom. The rivers dried up, the crops withered, and the people grew desperate. The advisors, who were used to pleasing the king, argued endlessly but could not find a solution. One day, as King Roland rode through the village, he saw a young girl sitting by a dry fountain. She was tracing shapes in the dust with her finger, deep in thought. Curious, the king stopped his horse and asked, "Why do you sit here, little one?" The girl looked up and said, "I am thinking of how to bring back the rain, your majesty." The king chuckled. "And what does a child know about such matters?" The girl smiled. "I know that when birds stop singing, the rain is far away, and I know that when trees do not dance in the wind, the clouds do not come." King Roland frowned, for he had noticed the same things but never thought much of them. "Go on," he said. The girl pointed to the distant hills. "The river comes from beyond those hills. If we plant trees there, their roots will hold the water, and their leaves will call the clouds. Then the rain will return." The advisor scoffed. "What nonsense! A child cannot solve a problem we cannot fix." But the king was thoughtful. He had ruled for many years, yet he had never heard such an idea. And so, for the first time in his reign, King Roland decided to listen to a child. He ordered trees to be planted on the barren hills. The people worked together, and soon tiny saplings covered the land. As the weeks passed, the trees grew, and the wind began to stir their branches. The birds returned, singing once more, and soon the sky darkened with clouds. Then, one evening, the first raindrop fell, then another, and another. The kingdom rejoiced as the rivers flowed again, and the fields turned green. The people cheered, but King Roland knew whom to thank. He called for the little girl and said, "Wisdom is not found only in age, but in open hearts and curious minds. Today, you have taught a king." From that day forward, King Roland listened to everyone in his kingdom, young and old alike, for he had learned that even the smallest voice could hold the greatest wisdom.